my goodness, so disorganized sometimes, I tell you. All right, go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Halito, everybody. This is CT over at the NYC Indian. Thank you for tuning into my channel today. We're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. It was episode 16, or sorry, episode 3 last night, and it was just still the weddings and everything. So we're just getting into it. Let's see. We started off with Eris and Jasmine. So we get back to their, to their scene. So they're at the altar for the first time. So he starts clapping like, oh, okay, all right, okay. But it's kind of hard for him to read. The clap seemed to me like, okay, well, I guess she's not terrible, but like almost like a kind of thing with the clapping. Okay, can you guys see me okay? Seems like it's a little blurry. Is that a little bit better? Okay. Sorry, technical issues. So she leans in, okay, when it's time for them to kiss. So she really leans in. So when you see the body language, so this is her and this is him. So she leans in like this and he leans in like that, right? It was way more on her side with the body language. And I was like, I just had a feeling that like, I don't know if she's really gonna be his type. I just had a feeling. I just had a feeling, and I still do not quite think I'm wrong. But anyway, so now she is very impressed. She thinks he's very good looking and stuff like that. And one thing I have to give to Eris is that Eris looks so young. I mean, I don't, his other personality traits, we have to find out about those later on, but he's got, man, the fountain of youth in his bloodline. He just looks like a kid. So anyway, so then they sit down later on, they start talking about different things and she's a breeder for dogs like that's her part-time thing or whatever. But secondarily, uh, she has quite a few pets that we thought in the beginning were just like 3 or 4, but we find out later anyway, we'll get into that later. But his reaction's like, oh, okay, she's coming in with a few pets. Like, all right, I don't know how I feel about that. Now, listen, everybody, I'm sorry. Not everybody is a dog person, and not everybody's going into these relationships with these, expectations of having to sleep with the dog and stuff like that. I wonder when they do like these really long surveys to kind of, screen people. I mean, they must like assess for pet preferences, right? I mean, I don't know. Like if I met somebody for the first time and they had like a small dog, maybe, but if somebody had a really big, like a big dog that lived in the house, then I'd be like, I don't think I wouldn't. I wouldn't because, they have a lot of hair and stuff like that. But, that's everybody's different with that. But he seemed to be more probably like how I would have reacted. Like you got how many dogs, right? So, okay, let's go over to Dominique and Mac. So she's getting ready and she was like, or he was afraid that, he wasn't specific enough when he was saying what he wanted in a partner, like in terms of her aesthetics or her physical features or whatever. And he lives with his best friend's parents, his best friend Taylor. She was there at the wedding. And I just got to say about Taylor's dress. Okay, listen, they are starting like actual subreddit pages on her dress. I mean, the dress was, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't my style, but she's 25 years old, right? So I mean, I don't expect a 25-year-old to get the best, to choose or necessarily choose the best dress for herself. But man, was it ill fitted. My goodness. And some of the guys' suits were not fitting too well either, but it's like, there was no support on the top. And like, there was even a scene where later on, where her dress, instead of like, you have like the middle point right here, it was shifted over here. I was like, oh my God, is there no one here? Like, come on, Married at First Sight. You can't do her wrong like that. You got to let her know her dress is like completely turned over. That dress needed straps. it was, well, I'm more partial to like a nice off-white. I'm not into that really bright white look. That's for other people, but of course we have to do the fashion critique, right? Because that's what we come here to do. But anyway, I was like, who in the world? That just looked like something like straight up David's Bridal, straight off the rack, no or alterations made to it or anything. Like I know they have a short period of time, but I mean the MAFS production team or whatever, don't they have somebody to go in and help them like put on a, like at least direct them towards a place that can get some alterations done in time so that they fit properly. And not everybody is skinny. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you have curves in the way things fit, sometimes you got to get it nipped in at the waist and stuff. So anyway, I was really, I don't think any season I've ever really gone into so much detail about how poorly some of these outfits were. They were just terrible for a wedding. And her mom didn't help. I don't know. I sew. So the thing, I always have a sewing kit. Like I can always do something or whatever. I know not everybody has that, but like you got your village around you. They're not helping you with that dress. My God, it was a mess. So anyway, let's see what else. So yeah, the dress was ill-fitted, and she seemed to be pleased like with what he looked like, but I still wasn't sure if she was really into him. Now there was one point, okay, after they did all the vows and stuff like that, where they're standing together, they're about to like walk down the aisle. And I remember she had this really bright smile on her face, and she looks over at him. She goes like this. She gives him the once over. She goes like, and then when she got down when her eyes went down, then she looked back up, her face didn't really change. Like, and then I was like, okay. I don't know. Maybe he's not her type. And the thing is that, I don't know much about either one of them so far, but I feel like McKinley's a nice looking guy. Like I was like so hopeful for them. Like, God damn it, we don't get interracial couples that often. You want to see it work. You want to see some magic or something from the beginning, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling the spark. I think he was into her. He said he's like into boobs or whatever. And, she's like, voluptuous and stuff. So I guess she was totally his type. And she's got that really gorgeous skin. And even though I'm not a fan of that bright white, her skin pops. Like she's got that smooth, creamy skin that looks like she's wearing makeup like from head to toe or just like freshly tanned all the time. She's really, she's beautiful. She looks oh my God. She looks exactly like my little cousin. And they're like the same age too. It's so crazy. Like I have to call my cousin and be like, have you seen your twin? You got a doppelganger on Married at First Sight. But here's the thing though that I didn't like. And this is what's like adding to what people are saying about her not being ready for marriage. Like the fact that she could not even remember his name. Like that she was like, it was like funny to her. She's like, I'm not like, come on. Like, at least I know there's a lot going on and you're just caught up in the moment of the excitement, but at least try to get the guy's name right. I don't know, but anyway, moving on to Nicole and Chris. So these two if there was a moon, an extra moon that could fall down and that we could reach out and touch it, they would be jumping over it. Like these two are so like, my goodness, they really have some chemistry here. So, it just seems to be going well so far. Now we have seen when there's extreme chemistry in the beginning, those usually crash and burn. Unfortunately, I have to be honest. I can't be up here lying to you guys, right? And I want to see them make it. I want to see them work out. I want to feel like we're going to get one couple that we can root for from the beginning to the end. Maybe a few hiccups, but come on. and we're just not seeing it. And I'm just not even understanding. My God. So anyway, okay, so getting back to Dominique and Mackenzie, or I call them Mac, Dom and Mac. That's what I like to call them. So Dom and Mac. So, during the pictures, it seemed like in that point, maybe she was growing a little bit more attraction towards him. And, he's, the photographer asked her to asked him to dip her and stuff like that. And, she went along, but it seemed like it was, almost like last week with what's his name, Clint. Like he's looking and he's looking at the other person and deciding if I'm attracted to them. Like that's what I got from her with McKin or with oh God, now I can't remember his name, but he's not my husband. So we'll just call him Mac. I think it's McKinley. So, I think she was giving him I don't know. Okay, maybe I could get into him kind of look, but during the pictures, it seemed like maybe there was maybe just a little bit more of a spark on her, and maybe. All right. So now Clint and Gina. Okay. So she starts talking about work and, her schedule and this and this and that. Now we can see that she is definitely a workaholic. And, I don't, I just, the look on his face was like, okay, are you going to talk about something else? And I have to admit, she should have dialed back a little bit on the business part, just a little bit, because you're still getting to know each other. So, while it's good to talk about work so that he can understand where you are in your life and your process and everything. And this is, you're trying to open up a new business and stuff, but you don't want the whole conversation to be dominated by your work. I mean, you don't want him to talk about sailing the whole time, right? So I felt like, but then again, I kind of felt like, maybe because she was a little bit, you get like that nervous thing where you, like for people that are talkative, and I know this happens to me too sometimes, like, I guess you guys, if you didn't know that I am quite talkative, usually people that have YouTube pages or YouTube channels or people that tend to be, they like to chat, right? They're kind of on the chatty side. So, sometimes when chatty people get nervous, they talk even more. And for me, I talk more and I talk faster. And then I'll find myself repeating myself. So maybe it was some nervousness there, but that did seem to kind of turn him off a little bit. But I think he just wants her to be like pretty and not talk too much. I think that's what his deal is. But either way, you can't just, lead too much with your career. So anyway, now we have Eris and Jasmine. So she is talking about her diet and oh God. Now this would be my worst nightmare. Let me tell you something. I am not dating a vegan. Okay. Let me tell you something. If I would have met my husband and he said, okay, I don't eat pork. I don't eat this. I don't know how I would do it. Because, part of the joy for me is like, when we share meals together and he cooks for me and I cook for him or whatever. But okay, let me go down the list here because I want to make sure I got this right. No pork, no red meat, no chicken. And she has 13 dogs because she adopted all these she's fostering puppies, which is really cute, but why are you doing that when you're like in the process to try and find a partner? Because that could be a real deal breaker. What if you meet the person of your dreams and they have allergies or something? I just, in that moment you looked at him and oh my God, like he just chucked, his face was like, you wait a minute, you have what? So how many? Because when she first told him that she had a few dogs, he was like, oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna have to kind of adjust around that. There's no way in hell I could do 3 dogs. No way. I will walk away. I will walk away. I'm just saying I would. But when she said she had 13, he checked the fuck out. Did you see his face? He was done. He was done. And from that point on, his eyes were usually down. He wasn't looking at her that much. He wasn't engaging with her that much. And I feel bad. And it's kind of confirming what a lot of fears that a lot of people had, that he was going to break her heart and stuff like that. And here we go. She's so into him and he's not so into her. And I feel as though, my initial reaction was that he wasn't going to be totally attracted to her. And I feel like he liked her body, right? Because she's kind of model-esque, right? So I guess he couldn't, I think that's where the clap came from. Like, okay, she's all right. Shoulders down, okay. But I think from the neck up for him, I think he's not attracted to her. And listen, we can call it a judgment or whatever, but people are attracted to what they are attracted to. Now, someone like him who's been out there in these streets dating consistently up until 2 weeks before the damn process, he clearly is not been settled. Him and Clint, they got their own little, dating up until 2 weeks ago little club, which they say 2 weeks. I think it was probably sooner than that. But anyway, his face he was done. Look at his face. He was checked out, completely checked out. And when they check out, we know how the marriages go. So, all right, now we go to Shaquille and Kirsten. So, it was kind of funny. They were looking at the food like, what's this? What are these green and red things? I'm like, have you never had like a mozzarella and tomato salad? But then again, I don't know. Maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe I'm being unfair. But I love a mozzarella and tomato salad. Or in New York, they call it mozzarella and tomato salad. But then again, when I was a kid, I lived in the South. So when I lived in the South, I didn't actually see that kind of salad. I only saw that when I moved to New York. So maybe it's just like a regional thing. Maybe they just don't eat like that down there, or for these two people, maybe they've never encountered that. And, they're just looking at it like, what is that? But I thought it looked so delicious. I'm like, you guys are so educated. You don't know what a mozzarella and a tomato. Anyway, moving on. I'm getting into, I'm just going into like some nonsense now. So now she's like, she says that she's into him, and, she's like, starting to get to know him, and appreciating his background and stuff like that. But I think she's trying. I think she's trying to see the best in him, but I do still feel that I still feel like she's not into him. That kiss told us everything, right? The way she turned her head, and she's not into his bald head, and I think maybe he's like got too much of a southern accent. I don't know. That's just my thing, like because he's got that real buttery, sugary southern accent, and people either they like that or they don't. Now, I mean, she's got the same accent too, but on a guy, it can be different, for some women. But I just think she's not into him. So they're like, and he's, or she, I would say, is like feigning her optimism. I mean, she's trying to find good things about him, but I think she is still kind of like giving us a little bit of BS about like, that she likes him. But, listen, we'd be giving her a hard time if she was like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with him either. But I just, from what I'm reading, I'm not getting the good vibe here for this particular union. So, people are like, okay, where's my, oh God, I forgot my, look, you guys won't know. I won't get it. I was going to get up and get my cup. But anyway, here, I'm going to use my vase here. So people were like, come on, let's go. And she's just sitting there like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not kissing this man. And, she says later on that it was like she really wanted to be asked. And she did say that when she was getting ready before she even met him. She wants to be asked. She wants that wooing, and that she doesn't want to miss out on some of those, like, I guess, elements of courtship, since you're doing this accelerated process. And he didn't ask her, so she didn't like that. And, and I don't feel like that's the only thing, because I think if he would have stepped out of there looking like, I don't know, whoever her ideal would be, I have no idea, maybe an Idris Elba or somebody, whatever is her type or something, I think she wouldn't have minded so much if he hadn't asked for the kiss, but she's not into it. And I think that's part of which maybe, you can use that as an excuse. So, all right, now her family then starts to grill him. And he's going on about God and God and God and God and God. And it's like in every other sentence. And it just seems so disingenuous to me. I mean, you guys listen, you guys know me. This is a secular channel. We do not, I don't, all of my reviews come from a perspective of a non-religious perspective. And, and they both said that they wanted someone from a religious background. So if I see two religious people coming together, then I don't expect them to, every answer to be, so even if they are religious people, I don't expect every answer to sound so rehearsed and so religious to me. It just didn't, I don't know. For me, it didn't fit the bill. And the sisters, they weren't buying it either. I mean, quite frankly. So, all right. So now who are we going to go to? So Dominique. All right. Excuse me. So now Dominique is over there and she is talking about her experience, right? So she's sitting down with McKinley's mom and his sister. And she pours her heart out about, racism and making sure that she has acceptance from whatever family that she would wind up marrying into. And the mom was like, oh, yeah, sure. and then was so dismissive of it to me. That was like, see, this is my problem with Married at First Sight. You cannot, like, I mean, come on. You sit here, Dr. Cal tells, or Pastor Cal tells us that they specifically don't match up interracial couples because they think it's just going to be an additional burden for them or whatever. And you finally do, match somebody up. And then when you match them up, then you get somebody who's not very sensitive. So, like, I just feel like if you feel like you are going to break your own rule, then you got to make sure that you get the right elements, right? Because she's sitting here and she's nervous. She doesn't want to say, like, outright, are you guys racist? You're going to be, are you guys going to have a problem with my skin tone or something like that, right? She doesn't want to come out and say it, but she wants to let the family know that, hey, I'm just a human being. I'm here, and, I just want to, experience this new marriage and stuff like that. And, it wasn't so much the sister, but it was more the mom. And she was like, and I know the mom was explaining in that moment prior to that, her hesitancy, her reluctance about this whole process, because she really wanted her son to go through a traditional courtship and to meet someone the old-fashioned way. And so she wasn't really for this to begin with. And I really respected that honesty. I really did. She was not blowing smoke up Dominique's ass, which I thought was good. But then when Dominique is saying, hey, listen, this is like, I'm kind of nervous about this thing. I just want to be accepted and stuff like that, to be like, oh yeah, okay. That was just so wrong on her part. I thought that it was just insensitive. I mean, it wasn't like, I'm saying she was being mean, but it was insensitive, instead of saying like, oh, well, you know what, you would be totally welcome, and I understand. And, maybe we can learn and grow together. And, there may be some challenges, but we'll work through it or something like that. And the thing is that they're from Michigan. So Michigan is probably one of the most monochromatic states. Okay. And I just finished watching that movie last night. Did you guys see that movie, White Boy Rick? It's a movie about this kid who was like, his dad was a drug dealer or a gun dealer, and the feds approached him and wanted him to become an informant for them. And he basically, kind of cut a deal to protect. It's like, we won't arrest your dad if you do this for us and you infiltrate this local gang or local drug cartel or whatever it was. So, and it kind of showed the dynamic that is so unique to Michigan, that I have a lot of family there. I went to high school there for like very, very briefly. But I remember there were always kids in certain communities that were, you have like white kids that grew up in Black communities, and it wasn't really a big deal. And, they kind of sounded like the local Black kids and stuff, and nobody really cared. And this is before like cultural appropriation woke period or whatever. They weren't saying that they were Black. They were just white kids that grew up in predominantly Black neighborhoods. And you could just tell the way they spoke, their body language and everything. And it kind of made me think, when they first said that he was from Michigan, I thought to myself, well, like, there's so many interracial couples there, and not just Black guy, white woman. Like, it's also in the reverse and stuff. I mean, one of my best friends in high school, she was a Black girl, and her boyfriend was white. I mean, it was just very common. It was just very, very common. So because the area that in Michigan that my family is from, it was so unique. I was thinking like, oh, okay. And I don't remember what city he said he was from, but I think it was like a city that was not too far from the township that my family lives in. And I was thinking, oh, okay, so this is why they chose him, to give him someone who's of a mixed race background, because he's from Michigan. So I'm thinking he's a Michigander, I'm sure he's interracially dated, no problem, right? And for people like me who lived in those areas, even though I didn't live there most of my life, but just going back and forth because my family is from there, that's what I thought of when I saw McKinley. And it also it endeared me to him more as well, because I know that this guy put down on his paperwork that he'll take anybody, right? Or he'll take a person of color. And that's, to me, that's open-minded. And Nah, I'm not saying all Michigan is like that, okay, but just the areas that the area that my family is from. So I was kind of, I was kind of a little bit surprised about his mom's reaction, but maybe because I was so hyped up and like him being okay and stuff, I didn't think about the family. And sometimes it's easy to just get so wrapped up into a couple and be, oh, they're going to get along. Oh, they're going to automatically have attraction. Sometimes we forget about what that family dynamic is like. And I just, I really wanted to talk about, I know it sounds like I'm going off on a, little tangent here, but I really wanted to talk about that because he is a new transplant to Tennessee. He moved there to live with his friend Taylor's parents. He's coming, from Michigan, fresh from Michigan. He hasn't been in Tennessee that long. So I don't know. This is just, I was hoping there was going to be more magic, more clicking, more sparks and stuff like that. But I am so concerned, and I'm more concerned on her side. But his family dynamic, I'm concerned with as well. So now that she has spoken with his mom and sister, now let's go over to him. What do you say? His okay. I guess that's his mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law. Okay, that's how I would put it. So he has this conversation with them, and so her mom sits down, and we know, now. Okay, we don't know exactly what Dom's exact or ethnic makeup is. We know her mom is black, and we know her stepdad is white. Now, should we assume that her biological father was white as well? I mean, it kind of looks like it, right? But we don't know for sure. But let's just say, for all intents and purposes, her stepdad has been in the picture for a long time. So she grew up, at least, I guess, with her black mom and her white stepdad, right? So that's still a biracial family, whether she is biracial. It's a biracial component, whether she is genetically biracial or not. Well, she is somewhere down the line. Come on, let's be honest. I mean, somebody in the family is something. She's not totally black. But either way, I don't know if she identifies as a mixed race person or not, or she identifies as a black woman, whatever, her business. But when the mom sits down with McKinley, the mom is saying, like, listen, we are a black family, okay? This is what this is, all right? And just like letting you know, so we don't want there to be any problems and stuff like that. So she put it out very, she just kind of put it out there. And he's like, yeah, I'm good with it. Like, and that's what I expect from the Michigander, right? Like, don't disappoint me. But, and the grandma seemed to be very nice and everything. And I feel like her family is very open and very warm. They just want her to be with with a good guy. And, is it him? Is it going to be Mac? I don't know. Is McKinley going to fit the bill? We still don't know yet. But, he's fine with her family dynamic. Is his family okay with her family dynamic? And I'm very, very, very concerned about that. I didn't even think that. I'm so stupid. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking about it. All right. So now let's go to Aris and Jasmine. So, all right. So she talks to his cousin. So, oh my God. So the cousin was sitting there looking at Jasmine like, everything she said. And then when she said in that confessional, like, well, it just sounds like pageant answers to me, very rehearsed, tailored answers. And, the cousin was like, I started to wonder, is that a cousin or is that a play cousin? You know what I mean? Because, I mean, was it, sometimes you have those cousins. It's like, your families have known each other for a long time. So, maybe your cousins in that way. I mean, because if she is his biological cousin, either he was really, really out in the streets to the point where she knows this is an absolute disaster for him to get married. Either that, or they're not cousins in the way that I'm thinking cousins. Because, she was just like sitting there, and that dress? Come on, that's another one with no support, no strap support, boobs all. Oh God, I can't stand that. There should be something. If I was going to go and marry at first sight, I would make my own contract. I'd be like, okay, listen, all right, you got your contract. Okay, here's my contract right here. Okay, you need to make sure that my hair, every angle, and my makeup at all times. I don't care if I just finished crying a river. You have somebody on standby 2 feet away from the camera view that can come and touch me up. No way you're going to have me looking crazy on national TV. Like, I just couldn't understand what the hell she was wearing. But anyway, I'm digressing. So, I don't know. I guess she's just going to be in the parking lot with the car running, basically, to see, what he's going to do. So I don't, Jasmine, I wonder if she's wondering what I'm thinking, like, God, this cousin seems very possessive. I mean, were they cousins like they grew up like in the same household? I grew up with my cousins. So my cousins are like my brothers and sisters. So maybe it was like that. Maybe that's why she's so like, come on, Eris, this is not for you. All right. So now, okay, who are we going to go to? So let's go to Shaquille. So Shaquille gives, what did he give? Oh, okay. So they're all doing like, the garter belts and stuff like that. And Shaquille gives his Magic Mike performance. Oh my God, that was so, that was like, that made me cringe. I just like, I don't know. He's all like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, I can't stand that. There's something about like male strippers and like any guy doing like a male stripper kind of like body motion. I can't stand that. Yuck. Anyway, so then Eris, oh my God, Eris, when asked, compared to Beyonce, okay, gives her an 8 out of 10. Now, listen, an 8 out of 10, all right, that's for the cameras. An 8 out of 10 is not bad in normal circumstances, but he knows he's on television. I do not think he thinks she's an 8 out of 10. I mean, it's a terrible thing to rate people to begin with, but I do not think that he is as attracted to her as he really says, or this 8 out of 10, rating that he is giving. I really think that he's just not totally into her. He likes her body, but I think that's where it stops. So, you can tell he's still like, the way his friends talk to him is like they're still talking to that bachelor buddy of his, of theirs, I should say, that they're used to still talking like this. It doesn't sound like, the kind of real settled down married type of friends, those type of, the conversations usually, those type of people are not typically asking you to rate somebody with a number at the wedding on camera. Okay. What the hell kind of friends are those? But he's so stupid. He answered it with an 8 out of 10. I mean, they're like, oh no, it's supposed to be 10 out of 10. Come on, whatever. You guys started this whole nonsense. So getting back to Chris and Nicole. So they get to the hotel because listen, out of all the couples, there is no question in my mind that there will be some consummation going on that evening. Okay. So he picks her up and oh my God. And, he picks her up and takes her over the threshold. It was very romantic. He did look like he was having a hard time though. I'm sorry, I have to say. And, the chemistry is very high. And, did you see that one scene though? She's sitting there, they're like on the couch or whatever together. He's got his legs open. She's got her hand like laying on his thigh, like real close to his crotch. I was like, girl, Nicole, girl, I know you're, okay. I mean, he's your husband. Go ahead. I mean, test the goods, I guess. But girl, like, you might want to seem like you want to kind of, at least on camera, like slow it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I feel like in her heart, she's already thinking, oh my God, I'm falling in love with this guy. Right. So, they get into their comfy PJs. And then when they put the camera on him, what in the hell was he wearing? I said, that's not what you wear on your wedding night. He had on his striped tank top and his little shorts, that you like just walk around the house. And it was too mismatched and stuff. I mean, her little outfit was cute. I mean, it doesn't have to be lingerie or something like that, but his was a little too comfortable. I'm sorry. Like you got it. Like his suit was terrible. It fitted so poorly on him. And that little outfit he had on, I said, oh my God, poor thing. You don't bring that out until after you get home after the honeymoon. But I guess he was like, listen, this is what you're getting. So I guess it was honest, but I would have not wanted to see that on a wedding night. Get some nice boxer, some silk boxers or like, whatever, whether you wear boxers or briefs or whatever, like get something nice. It's your wedding night. Come on. So, she's taking off all her makeup and she's showing him the real her and everything. I mean, she still looks fine. It's not like she has like massive dark circles or something. I mean, she's like, this is me. Like, are you okay? Girl, you look totally fine. Don't worry about it. So like me, okay, I say dark circles because truth be told, I have the worst. Look, I call them panda eyes. Okay. Some people like to call them, what do they call them? Raccoon. I don't like to use that term. I like to use panda because it's a little cuter. But man, my eyes look like somebody went like pop, pop in both of them. It's really horrific. So, but at least my husband knew me for a long time. So he already knew what black eyes he was inheriting. But anyway, yeah, they're really, really dark. I always have to cover them with a lot of makeup. So anyway, moving on. Yeah, that was basically it. I mean, did you see the previews for the upcoming season or like for later on in the season? Oh my God, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. And a lot of the stuff in the previews are the things that I spoke about on the very first episode. Attraction and things like that. So we'll start talking about that next week a little bit later on, as things unfold. So now that everybody's married, the kind of semi-boring parts are out of the way. So now it's going to be the honeymoon, honey. So we have got to see how these people act up when they're in front of their friends or away from the cameras or doing whatever. We shall see. I'm so excited. Listen, thank you for everyone who tuned in. I really appreciate spending some time with you. I want to hear your thoughts. Please let me know below. Listen, we can totally be in disagreement about stuff. So do you think that there was chemistry in places where I didn't think there was chemistry? We saw some really hellacious previews coming up with Dom and Mac and Clint and Gina and stuff like that. And that we'll get into that later. But, do you think these couples are gonna, do you think they're going to work out? Do you think that maybe there's just like some humps to get over initially and then they'll get better, later on? Let me know what you guys think. So that's it. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on your notification bell so you know when I come on live. I'm also doing Love After Lockup on Fridays. So you guys, I'm trying to be a little bit more active with the channel. I have some polls going on. Who do you think with, this person and that person, stuff like that. So yeah, just, stay tuned. I will see you next week. And that's it. I hope you're being safe and taking care of yourself. And I'll see you next week. Check peace, Electro.